trip, so I only have all the stories in tiny discrete units. I'm going to dump it into Final Cut Pro and let's see if it actually resequences them in chronological order. And guess what it does? Which is actually, this didn't work, and I've actually been sitting here recomposing the whole freaking, like, I had to shuffle and recompose, I don't know, 40 clips here, something like that. But it's been worth it to me. I just saw Evelyn. She hasn't seen my post about how I started crying because I miss her so much. This is our last breakfast, but I made her give me a hug anyway. Okay, this is our last breakfast. She doesn't use social media. Now, anybody who knows me knows basically that I eat meat and savory food around the clock, and I have zero desire for dessert in general or anything sweet for that matter. So I'm also going to have a can of tuna for breakfast.
Open up.
Wait, what does this remind you of?
As a child, when I had cats, opening that up.
Evelyn just told me that this basically looks like cat food.
Cut Pro, is that what you use? Cut Pro. Cut Pro.
Oh, Evelyn just watched the video of me crying about leaving her. Now she's gonna cry, and I said, "Do you mind if I tape it?"
You did it manually for 40 minutes. They're good though, yeah, they're great. Are they from
Okay, we're having a disagreement. I think these are heinously ugly. These don't even fall into the category of jolie led. They're just unadulterated. They're just totally unreservedly ugly. Please judge my Serbian accent. I told our taxi driver we were going to Teniski Centar Novak. It's a good accent, right? By the way, this is a public passage, and this is a China level planning fuck up. Like, look at this. It looks like I'm going. Look, see? Like I have like a foot here to walk. You see? It's okay. So, like, what did I say? Steps. Okay, how much pain are we in today? Ooh, it's okay.
Yeah.
I can walk. This is pretty good. Okay, no, the pain and suffering is pretty much over. Now the big challenge is not to cry because it's our last day. Just to be really clear, I hate stretching. And then Evelyn, what did you just say? I'll lead stretching. I was like, I think you just
backward.
Okay, you're not just going to lead stretching. You're going to do my stretching.
Okay.
And I'm going to stretch vicariously through you. This is just an atmosphere shot to show how beautiful it is today. This court is apparently Novak Djokovic's court. He's supposed to be practicing here before the French Open. That's why it's being prepared for him. I'm showing this to you to show you the quality of the people who are playing at this tennis center. It's crazy. This kid is probably, our coach reckons, one of the top 3 in the under 15s in Serbia. It's just... Okay, we're leaving. We just finished our last session. It was really wonderful. We said goodbye to our coach, Diane, and I'm sure we're going to see him again. He's getting married tomorrow, so we just wished him well and gave him a hug. There is a very, well, for those of you who don't give a shit about tennis, it's not an important match, but in my mind, it's the most exciting match so far of the entire Monte Carlo tournament. It's Djokovic and Medvedev. Medvedev was winning the first. Right. The truth is, I'm the only person I know who loves Medvedev, and there's no good reason that I do like him. I actually call him the accountant because he looks like a scrawny accountant.
Once a quarter?
I want you to feel sad with this. Don't talk about tennis. We're feeling sad. I know, because you couldn't imagine being with more captivating, charismatic, fun, loving companion.
Reciprocal, jolly, and supportive.
Okay, so
and festive. Okay, that's kind of jolly.
Those are Evelyn's 3 adjectives for our trip. And guess what we're going to do for lunch? Surprise! And I actually exclaimed very loudly, yes! And then I forgot that I was in Novak Djokovic's tennis center. And Dad gave me this look of, have you forgotten where you are? Really, really, really beautiful day. Oh, you can't really see. It's very sunny. We were saying it's a good day for a protest. We were passing this, and I actually thought this actually might be a country where they might still use a payphone.
Oh, they will for sure.
Just because, for example, we were saying we couldn't believe how everybody smokes. Or as Sean said, he called it brazen, the number of people. Show me more.
Okay, there's a tiny bit there. No not as prevalent there. Oh, right there. Right there. It's happening. It's happening. There. It's all over if you look.
What's all over? What's all over?
Little leaves, little buds.
Okay, we stupidly didn't film our
Clearly, with all the
taxi
wink
driver.
wink.
Yeah, right.
But he was gorgeous.
He looked
And then
like
so
a-
Evelyn
he looked
said
like
to
a
him,
film
and then when we were leaving, she said, "Are all Zandra drivers as handsome as you?" Yeah. That's what I love about Evelyn. She is so full of surprises. You would never think she would say something as flirtatious and forward as that. Now, he was unbelievably handsome like a movie star, but in a dark former heroin addict way. Anyway, we have his number. Maybe we can book him later. We were going to take a break, but then Sean told me that Nadal is actually being beaten by Guido Pella, in which case I couldn't but turn on the television set. And I'm in the breakfast room of the hotel now. I messaged the whole group about what was going on earlier. I don't think you saw that, but anyway, so the president is speaking at 6 o'clock, accounting for this large number of people on all the closed streets. Okay, you see that building in front of us? That's the National Assembly. That is where the president is going to come out and begin speaking at 6 o'clock. And there's a festive atmosphere. I mean, nothing has been violent here.
Lots of flag waving.
And before this protest, and there have been many protests since December, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen, so we're gonna circumvent this area. Okay, you see that building in front of us? That's the National Assembly. That is where the president is going to come out and begin speaking at 6 o'clock. And there's a festive atmosphere. I mean, nothing has been violent here.
Lots of flag waving.
And before this protest, and there have been many protests since December, but we don't know exactly what's going to happen, so we're gonna circumvent this area. In case you don't think that Belgrade has pockets of beauty, this is a presidential palace, for example, right here. It's across from the National Assembly, where the protest is going to be taking place. For most people here, though, they're just hanging out. It looks like an al fresco evening. See this gentleman in the middle of the street taking a picture? That's because it's a very weird atmosphere. People are just drinking beer in the middle of the street because everything is closed. So it's kind of like a tentative street party. I mean, it's a strange atmosphere. But there's a beautiful view from the middle of this street. Look how grand it is. To just give you a flavor of what it's like, I'm walking in the middle of the street here. It's funny because, like, the sheep that I am, I actually was walking on the sidewalk when obviously there's nobody on this. I mean, there's no cars. So we're taking advantage of it. You can see St. Sava there at the end of the street. We decided to there's a pedestrian area here. It doesn't remind me of the escalator in Hong Kong, but you get the idea. There's elevated steps where there's outdoor F&B in the middle of the city. Now here, I feel like we could be in Brooklyn. Finally, there are trees. And look at how it looks very trendy around this area. I'm glad we went off the beaten path. Now, we don't know what this is. It says it's a former third Belgrade high school building. It's absolutely stunning. Look at it. It's beautifully preserved. You can't get all the architectural detailing, and it's in a very, very nice setting as well. Like a park. It's in this little trendy block that I just filmed.
Way back when.
I want to correct that. This is actually a high school. And these kids are just hanging out after school. But that stunning building is actually the high school building. See? Who could tell? No one can tell there's a protest. Not in here, where it's perpetually stylish and vivacious and everybody looks really, really chic.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the moment of truth. This was a pinafore dress that was perfect for Evelyn, and because it was even too tiny for her, she had it made from scratch. Okay, look who it is. It's gorgeous Una. She's just walked in. Okay, we're looking at it. Sure. Whoop! Whoop! No, it looks good.
No, it's great.
Yeah? Okay. Thank you. Guess what this is? Okay, you only have one guess. Guess what? It's Rakia. We're so honored. Una's friends are here and she's invited us to join them for a cocktail, a glass of Rakia. What a treat. You can't see anything, but you can hear what's going on. We're passing in front of the National Assembly. Wait, and I think I already mentioned actually that we met one of the founders of Estock, our favorite restaurant, at this drink at Fab Living, which is so insane. Anyway, there are a lot of Klieg lights on in this park, so it's unnaturally illuminated. It's probably a whole schedule of speakers who are pro-government speaking right now. Anyway, the park in front of the National Assembly is full. And they're being fed, I assume, an agenda of propaganda from the stage. I don't think we can see it. Per se, we're walking very fast. Yeah, these are giant video screens. That's the president. Vukic, you can't. There we go. There are thousands of people in this park. You can't really see much, but it's very peaceful.
Ali hoćemo također da poklonimo 500 učionica i Republici Srpskoj. Hoćemo i da naš narod u Republici Srpskoj može da...
So we were just walking through the center of town and passed in front of the president of Serbia speaking to literally tens of thousands of people. It was quite an interesting sight.
Have you seen Joanne TV?
Joanne TV?
No.
Oh, I've been watching.
Where's
Yeah,
Nami?
no, I watched the Insta stories. Yeah.
Well, you mean it was so random for her to make that lascivious comment to the driver? I agree. No, that's what's so wonderful about you.
A little knee trembler.
Because you just think that you're going to act like this naive child or something, and then suddenly you're just this. You're a sexual predator. All of a sudden, it just comes out suddenly. I think it's amazing. Whereas I am very uptight with that kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, when I was a little kid, even when I was a teenager, if I had a huge crush on somebody, I would actually avoid looking at them. Yeah, seriously. Okay. Full moon in Belgrade. Wait, okay, we completely omitted to tape the entire dinner that we had.
Yeah, you did.
Who included with Nami, who was the co-founder of Estock, our favorite restaurant in Belgrade. And then now,
my future
Sean,
ex-wife.
yeah, Sean's planning to come back here to marry her, basically. We didn't actually do a recap of the evening. Do you want to make a recap?
Recap? We just had a beautiful meal.
We had a gigantic,
Estock.
delectable. I meant to use the word delicious, and we met all these incredible powerhouse women who exemplify the future of Belgrade. So it was a big night in terms of being memorable. I didn't tape many stories tonight because it would have felt like an intrusion on the evening. But before dinner, we actually had a drink at Fab Living at the invitation of the owner, whose name is Una Nikolic, and who herself is a really adventurous and extraordinary woman who has lived all over the world before coming back to Belgrade to set up Fab Living, arguably the top specialty store in the city. On her patio, we just met these incredible women who are very entrepreneurial and basically, like I just said before, like at the forefront of the new Belgrade. That's for lack of a better way to put it. So what can I say? Our cup overfloweth tonight. We could not have had a more memorable evening for our last. Sean and Evelyn, have already said we're coming back 100%. I'm not going to lie. I'm not as convinced that this is a must revisit. All I do want to say, however, is that we had a lot of wonderful, serendipitous, unforgettable encounters, which will remain memories forever. And that is one of the reasons that I have actually been taping these stories and storing them on YouTube. By the way, if you care to look at them. I feel like I need to add a little bit of color to the two other women we met who were friends of Una's. One of them is the entrepreneur behind our favorite restaurant, Eastock, who is a transplant from New York, who is Thai ethnically, and who loves Belgrade, and who could easily have left much earlier, but has fallen in love with people in the city. The other one actually is responsible for the strategic development of what is potentially the most ambitious mixed use, how would you call it, startup ecosystem being built in Belgrade over a very large swath of the city in a 12,000 square meter area, which seeks to combine art, tech, sports, and education in one physical location so that cross-pollination can take place, as well as support for the community. So it all sounds pretty incredible. That development is potentially going to be one of the most important maybe for the next 20 years. So it was pretty phenomenal and astounding to meet somebody like that by, I don't want to say sheer chance, but by good luck. That is actually launching. It's slated to launch in the spring of next year, so let's see. But by all accounts, or at least by the accounts of this group, Belgrade is a place which is on the rails to become a thriving startup hub and has excellent prospects for the future. I hope that that's true, because it'll motivate me to come back soon.